Welcome to Geek Fandom Media. I'm your host, Chris, and you guys, we got our first look at Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man in the Spider-Man Noir series on Amazon Prime, and it is spot on. The costume looks so perfect, you guys. I am quite fascinated and intrigued by this particular project coming from Sony and Amazon. The fact that they partnered up with Amazon for a series is really interesting to me. So I'm curious to see where they're going to go with this and what's the ultimate goal, what's the end game, and what could this possibly start for Sony and Amazon's relationships for possible more series, for their platform. But I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not concerned. I am concerned. We just had Kraven the Hunter. We just had Madam Web. We just had Morbius, Venom 3, you name it. Their track record right now is not the greatest. After Kraven the Hunter bombed, Sony scrapped everything, took everything off the table. Ain't nothing happening no more. So I'm a little concerned. Now, I'm not saying Sony can't put out some great, Spider-Man Marvel content, because they have. The Sam Raimi trilogy, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 was really good. Across the Spider-Verse, Beyond the Spider-Verse. They've done some fantastic work with their Spider-Man characters. But this being a series is what's really fascinating to me. We have never had something like this before. Set in 1930s, private investigator, New York City. If this is anything like a Sin City vibe, they could be cooking up something big. And I'm really intrigued, especially if it's something along the lines like Sin City. I love the way Sin City was handled. Sin City was a great adaptation, you guys. It's one of my favorite comic book films. It is so well made, visually, aesthetically. So I'm hoping that, this Spider-Man Noir series is kind of in the same ballpark. That would be quite fascinating to me. But I enjoyed the first look. I think it looks pretty badass. And I can't wait to see, like I said, 1930 set in New York, by this aging Spider-Man, private investigator. Like, that's quite fascinating from a storytelling point. So if they have, many more stories to tell within this universe, I'd be quite fascinated. Now, we are touching the multiverse right now with Spider-Man, so anything can happen. Anything could happen, and Sony can greenlight any project they want. I think they're better off probably doing series like this other than trying to do full fleshed out movies from Spider-Man villains that nobody really cares for. Honestly, I hope Marvel Studios revamps Venom in some kind of way. Revamps, Kraven the Hunter. Madam Web should have been Jamie Lee Curtis in Spider-Man No Way Home. What a missed opportunity that was. This, it's to make Madam Web a period piece set in the early 2000s, played by a much younger version with Spider-Woman. It was just a terrible idea from start to finish. Bad idea. But like I said, could this possibly open the floodgates for more projects for Sony and Amazon to work for? I honestly think that it would be a good idea. And especially if this series is a smash hit, I'm quite fascinated. And I don't know much of the lore of this character. His introduction to me, I think the first time I saw him was Across the Spider-Verse. I was like, he's became a fan favorite. And, amongst the fans, Sony kind of listened. They're like, okay, well, what if we did a series with, Nicolas Cage? And, they're doing the live action series. So they must really believe in this character, the story that they're trying to tell, and the universe they're trying to ultimately build out. Could this possibly lead into, Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland? No idea. I don't know what Destin Daniel Cretton is doing over there with Spider-Man 4, but it sounds like he's cooking up something big, grounded, and mature, which I'm really stoked for. I want Spider-Man to get back to the basics. The multiverse stuff was cool. I didn't mind seeing Andrew and Tobey back, but Spider-Man's at its best when it's grounded in reality. That's just the facts. That's when he's at its best. And I still want to see Andrew and Tobey return, in Doomsday or Secret Wars, whenever they do decide to possibly, ask them to come back, But, let's see what happens with this Nicolas Cage series. I'm not too familiar with the cast and crew, who's going to be in this, who's going to be the main antagonist, but I'm liking the style. I think the aesthetic can work really well if they do approach it like the Sin City stuff. They could have a huge banger on their hands. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about the first look of Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man in the Spider-Man Noir series. Thoughts and opinions, let me know. And of course, thank you guys for taking time out of your day for watching Geek Fandom Media. Peace.